All right. So we're super excited to be able to share with you the MAST dashboard. First thing first, though, is where is this dashboard even located? So the place to find the MAST dashboard is right through the MyECSD SharePoint site. And what you will find is at the very, very top here, you will find a section that says dashboards. So if we just click on that section right there, this will take us to all of the dashboards that Tech Services has made available to teachers, administrators, schools, and the division as a whole. Now, the dashboard that you're going to be taking a look at in order to access the MAST dashboard is this one right here, the Learning Services dashboard. So we're going to click on that Learning Services dashboard and we just go View Dashboard. And that will take us right to the dashboard for all things learning services. All right. Now, this dashboard, yours might look a little bit different than mine. I, of course, have some divisional data, but you're also going to have your school online data, which is this data right here on the right-hand side. Now, the data that you will have access to will kind of depend on your role. So when we look at that school online data, teachers, of course, you have access to the data for your specific classroom. All right. When it comes to assistant principals, and learning coaches, you're going to have access to the data for each classroom, for the grade as a whole, and then the school as a whole. All right, so a little bit of a different access level there. Now, this data, of course, is refreshed continually 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 11 p.m. each day. So let's actually take a look at the data just by going to View Report. Now, that's where you're going to click. Now, I, of course, am going to maintain confidentiality for schools and students. So I'm actually going to walk you through the MAST dashboard looking at the divisional data just to respect everyone's privacy. So I'm going to go to View Report. Now, the data that you will receive looks very similar to the data that you're going to see here. All right, first thing first, you're going to have this lovely little color explosion here, for lack of a better way to put it. But right now, the data that you see is absolutely meaningless because you need to drill that data down. So just first thing for me is I'm going to go divisional. There we go. Now, right now, you need to think, what is the data that I'm actually going to look at? I'm looking at the MAST analysis. So you're going to want to click on MAST analysis data there. Now, when you go to MAST analysis data, you're going to be greeted with all of this. And it kind of looks like garbly-goo right now. But what's in here is absolutely fantastic once you know what those charts all represent and the data that they can provide you. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to this top banner here and you're going to drill your data down. You're going to make it a little bit more specific. Now, depending on if you're a teacher, a learning coach, or you are an assistant principal or principal, you're going to be interested in different data and you'll have different drill down options. So please keep that in mind. But the basic options is you're going to select the year. Right now, it only has the 2022-2023 formative data in there. Next year, of course, it will have New Year in there. So I'm going to click 2022-2023, and I'm going to select my grade for the purposes of this video. We're going to look at grade 5, and we're going to look at the MAST type. And this, of course, you will have additional types on here with additional administrations of the MAST. And we're going to go Math 5. All right, so what that has done is this has made this data specific to the grade 5 formative A MAST that was given in the fall of 2022. All right, so that's how specific this data now is. Now, when we look at the different charts, they give us different information. So the first table, this one right here, Division Summary Table 1, gives us, first and foremost, the quantity of available points. So really what the assessment was out of. All right, so in this case, it was out of 24. shows how many participants actually wrote this particular assessment. Then it provides us with the assessment mean and the assessment median. All right, gives us standard deviation, and it gives us our alpha as well, which is really just that internal validity and reliability score. Now, the second table, the division summary table 2, is where things get very interesting. So what we have done is we have organized and grouped each of the questions so that they are under the similar reporting categories. So for example, in the legacy curriculum for grade 5, we have number outcome 5, which is all about multiplication. There are 4 questions for that particular outcome, and the mean for those questions within the division was 86.06. Okay. For division outcome number 7, we had 2 questions, and the mean for the division was 40.96. Now, we can sort this just by going to the mean and clicking on that lovely little arrow, and it sorts it a little bit nicer for the eye. Of course, the eye likes to make sense of things, and color helps to make sense of things. So we can see very clearly that an area of strength for the division was number outcome number 5, which was basic facts. Okay, we can see that number outcome 3, multi-digit addition, number outcome 5, division, which was basic facts of division. We can see that number outcome 6 of multiplication, which was a multi-digit multiplication outcome, we did okay as a division. Then we get into the red here, all right? And each of these red ones are areas where I'd go, you know what? These are areas for continued growth, areas that we would work on as a division. So I would focus on these as a consultant, and these would be areas where I would offer specific professional development. Okay, so addition of decimals, didn't do so hot. Subtraction of decimals, same thing. Some division, now it's division outcome number 7. I can look that up, and I know already that's multi-digit division, and multi-digit subtraction would be areas for continued growth and development. Okay, so as a teacher, you can look at this very quickly and say, I know where the strengths are for my class. I know where the areas of growth were for my class as well. Same thing for administrators. You can take a look and look at that for grade levels as well as your whole school. So it can really help inform your school growth plan. Now, the next chart is this one right here, the response score distribution chart. And the response score distribution chart, essentially what it does is it provides us with the number of students that received that particular score distribution. So when I look, I can see that there were 400 students that had a score range of between 60 and 70% in our division. I can see that there were 482 students that had a score range of 50 to 60% in our division. Now, this, of course, would be applicable for your classroom, grade, and school level as well. So it gives you a rough idea of what that distribution looks like in your school, grade, and classroom. The next chart we're going to take a look at is the division item analysis chart, and that's this one right here. Now, basically what this one is each question with that assessment, so in this case, the formative A, we have the difficulty level identified. So I'm just going to do a lovely little sort because that's a nice way to get it organized for the mind and for the eye. And I can see right away where we have areas where there's continued growth needed, and we have some areas of clear strength. All right. Now, this helps you go deeper, and we'll speak to that a little bit more in the second video, which is how to actually analyze part A and part B. But the general gist, all right, is when you click on any one of these questions, so I can see that question 14, which was a numerical response, that's why it's an NR, had a difficulty of 20.9. So what that means is that in our division, okay, we didn't do so great there. In fact, we kind of did terribly there. So if I click on that, you'll notice that for that question, the next table changed. Let's look at that again. If I was to look at this question, question 22, you'll notice that that division response distribution changed again. So this shows the divisional response distribution for the particular question that has been selected, right? So I can see that 21% of our population got this question correct in identifying that the answer was 6,386. I can see that 13% of the total population that wrote this question got this question wrong with an answer of 7,614%, or 6,714. I can see that 9% of the division didn't answer this question. Okay, and so on and so forth. And in the next video, we're going to go deeper into how to actually get the most information possible from those two charts, those two tables. The final table that we have here is our score range. And what the score range does, I'll just sort of show you those right there, is for this particular question. So this entire bottom band is all related to that one question that has been selected. It shows us very clearly that if I went to those students who got a score of between 0 and 10%, if I look back up here, there they are, there was 151 of them. Those students who got a score between 0 and 10%, out of those students, the common answers, 19 students put nothing. 7 students had that common error of 7,614. 36 students just skipped it, or they had a missing with it. Let's go to a score range with a little bit, some different data here. So at our 50 to 60% score range, so students who receive 50 to 60% on the overall assessment, I can see that 4 students just had nothing. 28 students had 5,486. 44 students had the correct answer of 6,386. 12 students were so close, they had an answer of 6,486. I think you can see what happened there right away. That seems like a place value situation. 94 students had that score of 7,614, that very common error, and 31 students had missing. So it just breaks it down a little bit further. Now, in our next video, we're going to look at how to analyze, really use this bottom section of data to analyze part A of the MAST.